Good evening, Minister Yariv Levin, Ambassador Ron Bremer. You are doing a great job for Israel. Thank you for all what you are doing. Knesset member, Dr. Abraham Nagosa, member of the Knesset, Oded Forer, the family for Mengistu. We hope next year that Abraham will come back to Israel and his family. The American Zionist movement, leaders and members, Avraham Natan, my close friend, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Who dare dream 100 years ago that it would be this way? Who dare to dream that when the British Foreign Secretary, Lord Arthur Balfour, handed his historic declaration to Lord Rothschild, that simple statement of several dozen words would ultimately change history. That it would fulfill the divine promise of giving the land of Israel to the Jewish people. Who would have thought that a nation which never privileged would overcome enormous difficulties, war and security situation? Who would have believed that these people, small in number, would be responsible for some of the most important development in the world? If somebody had spoken any of this out loud 100 years ago, they would have been considered unrealistic. But I want to tell you, here and now, yes, there were those who dreamed. The father of the Zionist movement did think this way. And thanks to these dreamers, we are standing here today. Thanks to them, we have the miracle called the State of Israel. You know, the late President of Israel, Shimon Peres, used to say that only fantasianer doing fantastic things. And in Israel we are fortunate. We have a lot of fantasianer. Try to close your eyes for a moment and imagine a world without Israeli and without Israelis. For some of the countries, it may be a dream come true, but they will have to live in their own dream and to keep benefiting from Israeli innovation in almost every aspect of their life. In cybersecurity, companies like Checkpoint, Palo Alto, CyberArk. In pharmaceutical, medicine like Copaxone and companies like Teva and VBL. In agriculture, companies like Netafim, and of course the Israeli cherry tomato. In Israel we don't have a car industry, but we have the best brain car industry with companies like Mobileye, Waze, Google, Via, Auto, and others. All of this 100 years ago, after Lord Balfour made his declaration, all of this is just 70 years after the establishment of the State of Israel, a state which faced unbearable economic hardship in its early years, which was attacked relentlessly by countries which refused to recognize its existence. Is there anything more miraculous than that? And all my friends, all thanks to those early dreamers. Lord Balfour, in his landmark declaration, helped to fulfill God's promise to Abraham. Today, the United States of America continues along the same path, helping preserve Israeli security and further developing our flourishing economy. Before I will conclude my speech, I want to tell you a short story. You know, one of the biggest transactions in the Israeli market in the last year was when Mobileye bought Intel for more than $15.3 billion. You know, Mobileye is actually, there is a alarm car system which will save, after they will implement this, between 10% to 70% of the car accident. let's assume, let's be pessimistic, they will save only 10% of the car accident. You understand how much this invention saved people of life, how many injuries it prevents. And when Brian Kresnitz, the CEO of Intel, came to Israel and announced the purchase, it was a press conference with Prime Minister Netanyahu, myself, Brian Kresnitz, and the two entrepreneurs. One of them is Professor Amnon Shashua. And one of the journalists, I thought it's a guy from Bloomberg, asked Professor Shashua, so now, Professor, you became a billionaire. And Professor Shashua told him, I was a multi-millionaire before, but my goal is to change the world. And actually, in this day, Israel is not just the state of the Jewish people. Israel is actually role is to improve the life of the humanity and make the world a better place. Thank you all, and toda rabah.